the Executive Director, who is sorry that she couldn't be here with you tonight, and the Board of Directors and staff. It is my honor to welcome you to our historic sites in Boston. Our jewels, the African Meeting House, built in 1806 next door, and where we sit now, the A.B.L. Smith School, built in 1835, built expressly to educate Black children. I also want to take this time and opportunity to encourage you to visit our sites in Nantucket. We have the African Meeting House, built circa 1820, and the Florence Higginbotham House. I want to inform you that this program is being recorded and will be available on the WGBH Forum Network for your viewing pleasure. It is my esteemed pleasure to introduce our special guests. Their resumes and accolades are a bit lengthy. We're very proud of that. These are enormous, powerful women that sit before us. Ayanna Pressley is a powerful politician and political force in Boston. On November 3rd, 2009, she became the first woman of color elected to the City Council. Her political career spans more than 16 years at the federal level of government. Pressley previously worked as a senior aide for Congressman Joseph P. Kennedy II and United States Senator John Kerry. Immediately prior to her run for office, she was serving as Senator Kerry's political director. Carole Simpson retired from ABC News in 2006 after 24 years with honorary degrees and awards, 2 numbers to mention, among these her 3 Emmy Awards. A pioneering woman, she was the first African-American woman anchor of a major network evening news broadcast. At ABC News, Simpson was the anchor of the weekend editions of World News Tonight and senior national correspondent. She has covered all manner of major international news, including the release of President Nelson Mandela from prison in 1990. She also moderated political debates, including the first town hall format in 1992, and was the first woman and person of color to do so. Today, she is a leader in residence and a member of the full-time faculty at Emerson College's School of Communication. As leader in residence, she mentors students and conducts public seminars on issues such as the First Amendment, the historic function of the press as a watchdog on government, and the importance of an informed electorate. Now, sit back, relax, and listen to Carole and Ayanna as they present in the tradition of the 18th and 19th century people who were here in our community. Profiles in color.
Okay. I say that at 35 I've been doing this work my entire life. That's an accurate statement. I did my first campaign for Harold Washington, and then thereafter my own campaign started in the 7th grade. I was class president from 7th grade until 12th grade.
Wow. She got re-elected.
Yes. And always student government president, a competitive debater as well. And in fact, when I graduated, I was voted most likely to be the mayor of Chicago. So you know, my efforts, you know, in this work and sort of my leadership development and my commitment to this work began early on. So great examples in Chicago.
How did you get here?
How did I get to Boston? Boston University brought me to Boston. And I'm so glad that it did. And you know, when I speak with young people, I always tell them, when you pick a college, don't just pick it based upon the insular community and experience of the campus. You know, I chose Boston University because of Boston. And I'm so glad that I did. That not only did I make a commitment to be a leader in my campus community, but I branched out. And so I was president of my college at Boston University. Unfortunately, I cannot say that I'm an alum. As I'm sure many people can relate, life got in the way. My mother lost her job, and I left school to support my family. So I've not completed my degree, but I will. But I was a campus leader, president of my college, and that ultimately resulted in an internship with Congressman Joe Kennedy. And after a lot of hard work, he rewarded me with the position, and that sort of set me on my path. When I began my run, I was in a field of 15 candidates in the primary. And I was the only woman running in a field of 15 candidates. And I made it very clear that I was not running as the woman, although there was no denying that I am one, I hope. That being said, now that I'm in the position, I'm not running from being a woman. And I do think it is a voice that has not been represented in government, particularly on the municipal level. And I am going to be literate in these issues, and I'm going to be unapologetic about it. Because I think that when we're working on issues that better support our daughters, our sisters, and our mothers, these are things that support families and whole communities. And I'll give you a little inside baseball. As I was developing this committee, we were toying with what would the title be. And originally we were going to call it Women, Children, and Families. And the reason why we changed it to Healthy Communities is because when I tested it with a select few men whose judgment and political acumen I value, they felt excluded by that title. And I said that is so very interesting. And even now, with the title of Women in Healthy Communities, people will ask me, well, when you talk about stabilizing families, what kind of families are you talking about? I'm talking about all of them. If you're being raised by your grandparent, your mama, like I was, just in a single-parent household, 2 mamas, 2 daddies, whatever it is. Someone said you're running, to be a social worker to everyone. Yes, and I don't apologize for that. I do think the government has a responsibility to support our families, especially now. The other community that I will be doing a lot of work with and for, and I'm proud to state, is the senior community, which politicians are very good at courting their vote and not always championing their issues in an ongoing way. So those are just some of the issues I'll be tackling: domestic violence, sexual assault, teen violence, our seniors. I'll also continue my work with the addiction and recovery community. Many of you may know that my father struggled with addiction and was incarcerated for almost 16 years of my life.
No, I didn't know that.
Yes.
A little something you left out.
Well, they've all heard it before. They've all heard it before. So, we're trying to talk about new stuff, forward, thinking and talking about what I'm doing now in the position. But certainly those experiences, being raised by a single parent, my father having struggled with addiction and having been incarcerated, and the struggles of reentry into society, family reunification. I'm also a survivor of sexual abuse. All of these things have directly shaped and informed, what I care about and why I do this work.
I wish you well on this effort. I'm so glad that something like that. And it takes a woman. I mean, you think about those things. I don't think men think about those things. But we do care about the families and their being healthy. And please do something about this teenage pregnancy.
I will, because the numbers are on the rise, particularly for African American and Latino girls. And there is a direct correlation between that and our dropout rate. And I just want to say one more thing about that, when I was running, I said I was not running to be a politician. I was running to be an advocate. And I really mean that. And I think the best advocacy is well-informed, which is why I try to actively listen. But also sometimes the power of advocacy begins by just naming that thing that no one else is talking about. And so that's what I'm hoping to do, is to shed light on those things. And I don't want anyone to be feel excluded in that I have a particular and specific targeted mission, because I think it stands to impact and benefit the city as a whole. Listen, Scott Brown ran a great campaign. That's why I won. And Martha Coakley got me. I mean, he ran.
She's not going to say that.
Listen, he ran a hard campaign.
Had a lot of money.
With a message that clearly resonated with people. And I think, it's a wake-up call. But